Oh, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, already I
Yeah.
got it.
Well, another thing you kind of brought up is the social. That's another big thing with sports.
yeah.
And
Yes.
even being involved in exercise, I, have always stayed pretty active, but I've started doing I don't know, it's a combination of a CrossFit and just a boot camp. And I have to get up, it's a set time. I have to get up and I go meet, and I'm with a group of people that are doing the same thing. And it's amazing that don't get me wrong, I love to go for a run all by myself sometimes, but I also love meeting up with
Meeting
friends to
other
run, and
people,
it's so
right.
much easier if you have a connection with somebody else to exercise. And so if you're, listen to this and this is motivating you to get out, my
Yes,
first
please
recommendation
do.
is, as adults, find somebody to
To do it with. Right.
go with and to also hold you accountable.
Yes,
I feel
that's
like
important.
it's a lot easier if I know, if I have
So you
somebody
don't fail. So
that's
you
counting
don't-
on me to be there,
Yeah.
and you just make friends, and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you you create connections. And so I feel with youth sports, what I see with my girls is they are making friends with other people, and then they're less likely to just want to sit and text, because there's something way different with person-to-person contact, which I think kids have a hard time nowadays doing, because
Absolutely.
they
They're
are
afraid
so
of
much
people. Yes, they're
on a
at home.
screen.
Right, right.
And so it's been nice to have my girls have an organization, and it can be with dance, you can do theater, that's
Yeah,
exercise too,
yeah, I
but
know.
to have a group to
To meet
do it
regularly
with. And
and do
they've
it
made friends
together.
with some of their soccer teammates are not all from Riverdale, Utah. They're from other cities close by, but then they're going to go to school and have friends in other schools, and it's just so good, to have that social,
I agree.
where you're
You
not
know,
just sitting on the
and-
couch looking at a screen.
And
You
the
have
other
those friends.
aspect of it is that you're sharing, and I'm getting it now as you're talking about it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Team aspect.
Oh, yes.
They can learn how to work
play
together as a team.
together,
And they
yeah.
get to learn that we don't win
All
being
the
individuals. We have to we learn how to stay in our lane. We learn our roles and our positions. We learn to trust each other. We learn to encourage one another. We got people who are not as great as some of the others, but yet they're our teammates.
team,
So
and
we
we
have
love
to
them
learn
and,
how to
yeah,
help
respect
them.
them, right.
It's so much that you're learning.
Right, right.
on
While
that-
playing.
Yes, and we're playing and having fun, and we're getting the social
Yes.
aspects, and we're getting the
The mental,
exercise.
and
You know,
yeah.
this is all good. This
I
this
know,
is
this
literally all good.
I
You know,
it is. And one of the things that we need to understand is that energy creates energy. If you're sitting in the couch, you're not going to have energy because you're not creating it. But if you're utilizing energy, then energy comes. And now you'll be able to do a lot more things. One of the things that I love about sports too is, Pastor, that they learn that it is not winning all of the time. And we hate to lose, right? And we don't
some
know.
people don't know how to lose. Yeah,
And we don't know how to face losing at
Yeah,
times,
you're
not
right.
getting what we want.
Yeah.
Because life is not like that. Life, you're not going to be successful at everything that you do or everything
Now,
that you
this
start.
is a question I have for Heidi, right?
No, I'm ready.
no.
I'm ready. Give it to me.
Okay,
So
Pastor's gonna
nowadays, so when I grew, and you probably know a little bit about this too.
Like
No,
wild card.
I won't do wild card. But when I grew up, there were winners and there were losers. There was a first place, second place, and sometimes third, right? Nowadays, they don't really have a lot of that, right? Everybody's winner. Everybody gets, if it's not, if they got competition and all that. How do you think that's beneficial, or
Do you see it well,
What,
or-
what
Well-
do you've been on all levels,
Yes.
high school level.
So to be, honest, in my two younger girls are 4 and 6, and at that age everything's recreation,
Yeah,
and they don't
fun.
keep score and they don't keep standings. But you better believe that those little girls know when they win and lose still, and parents still keep score. But I do have a hard time sometimes with everybody gets a trophy, just because like you said, I think there's so many times in life that we're going to have failures. We're going to
We're
have
going to-
disappointments.
yeah.
We're not always going to
And
get
we're not
a
preparing
trophy
the kids.
for not
a winner's
succeeding.
medal
Yeah.
or
Right.
participation award.
So
Um,
we're not teaching our kids resilience, you know,
Yes,
in life.
exactly.
And that's what they need. We want to protect them so much that when they go outside our door, they don't know what to do.
But from my understanding,
don't
you're
know.
sharing with me that they still experience those things.
Right.
The kids
For
know.
example, my 4-year-old, we were just doing a scrimmage on Friday with her own teammates, and well, I'm not keeping score, but she was, and you know, she was having a little tantrum that her team got beat, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But it's good for
It's
even her
good.
at that
That is
age
good.
for me to say,
Yeah.
hey,
Absolutely, yes.
we're not always going to win.
I
It's
want to hear
okay.
a funny story.
You know what I mean?
Here go my funny story. So so basketball is my first love. And I was the kid at 5 years old that had the little mini goal, and I'd be like, I'm practicing for the NBA. And this is a true story. So my mom put me in organized basketball, and we were good. And I loved basketball, and I could shoot. And we played this one team. They were number 1 and we were number 2, and it was the game of the year. And my mom was
I
busy,
can't
worked
wait
all the
to
time.
hear this.
So she did not come to any of the games, but this particular game, she showed up. And I was one of the star players, and I wanted to show out for my mother. Oh my God, I was up in there, and we lost in the last second of the game. And I will never forget, I was in the back seat of the car, and I wanted my mom to see that I could win, right? And I remember sitting in the back seat of the car crying. And this is what my mom said. I would never
How old were
forget
you,
this.
Pastor? How old were you?
I was
Wayman?
probably about 7 or 8 at this
Okay,
point.
all
And so
right.
she says, well, babe, you can't win them all. To this day, if somebody say that, that's like a trigger to me. You know what I mean? Because I really wanted
hated
that win. But the truth is, that was such a life lesson at
Yes,
7,
right.
right? No matter what, even when I don't win, I can hear my mom say, well, can't win them all, right? And it kind of helped me.
Yes, put
as I
perspective.
yeah, and let me know it's ugly. It don't
Right.
feel good, but it's the truth, right?
right,
For
right.
And
sure.
it helped me face life. And at the time, and I hope my mama ain't listening, but at the time, as a kid, I wanted to reach my hand back and over the front seat and hit her.
Right. And you know, you would have been out the door.
Yeah,
a
y'all, I
running
wouldn't be
car.
here. I would not be here. I would
If
probably.
you would have done that.
I would be a distant memory at this point. She definitely got me.
No, that's awesome.
But yeah, that's a major thing. Yeah.
Well, and my older daughter, who's 9, I coach. We are in a competitive soccer league, and here in the state of Utah, soccer's pretty competitive, and
They're so good.
I've had to learn too that yes, we want to win, and I am very competitive,
Okay.
but it's still just a game, and it's important too to let those girls know that yes, it's okay to lose. And
We
I
don't
always,
want you
I
to
always
lose,
tell my
but-
girls, hey, I know you're going to make mistakes, but it's how do you respond when you make that mistake?
Exactly.
And I think that's one thing that you can tell those kids and people in life. It's the same thing as when we come up against a wall, like how do we respond when we have challenges, or how do we respond when we do make a mistake? You know, God doesn't expect us to be perfect. He knows we're not going to be perfect. It's how do we respond when we make those mistakes. And
I love that.
one thing that, you know, I always try to think, okay, how am I gonna, what should I say to motivate my kids? And
See, see, Pastor, that's why she's so special. She's not just coaching to be there, you know, taking the time of the
Yeah,
kids and teaching
yeah.
them a sport. She's going beyond that as a teacher.
Yeah,
You know,
oh,
she's going beyond
The great
teaching.
coaches do.
Yes, and
they
that's the
think of what
amazing
lessons
part
am
of
I
this beautiful lady.
going to teach. But one thing I looked up is, and it, you know, the past however many NBA champions have had at least 1 or 2 games in their season where they were destroyed. And I'm talking like a 30-point loss. And so even the best of the best,
of the
the
best, right.
guys that are making millions of dollars get their butts kicked sometimes.
Not
They
all
have-
baseball.
But it that's life, is we're going to have those ups and downs, and how do we respond? And I just,
Amen.
there's so
That's
much
good.
correlation between life
Right.
and sports, and I think that's why sports has been such a big part of my life. It's been a huge part in so many ways, and one of the biggest is spiritually. Like, I feel like God has given me a gift to, you know, to have a strong body and a desire to help others. So she sees me during the day too. I teach PE at my kids' elementary. So now that my youngest is getting older, and with COVID, I just felt a need to volunteer, or to not necessarily volunteer. They wouldn't let volunteers. So I knew with my teaching degree, maybe I'll sign up to be a substitute. But then they had this PE opening that I was like, oh, that's way more fun. Get paid to go play with the kids, and then it was a way for me to still be able to be involved in my kids' school, and because I was an employee, I could then volunteer as well. But it's been fulfilling because, like I said, I make, when we're out at the park, I make them run to the scoreboard, which is like maybe 100 meters, 150 meters, not very far. And you'd be surprised at the kids that struggle. And so that might be the only 30 minutes of exercise that they get. And I only have them once a week, but there's so much that it's just, like we've talked about, the mental side, the social side, physical and spiritual benefits that can come from just being active, taking a step back from the screens. And that's a good advice for myself. All of our phones, I think, have the tracker of how much screen time you get. Yes. And it's crazy. Sometimes I'm like, how did I get like 4 hours today? But it's like, it is a problem, I think, even for adults.
Before we leave, you got to show me how to look that up. I don't know. See how much screen time I'm putting in.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to know.
I probably don't want to know that. I probably start feeling bad. Like, I can think them 2 hours.
Some of it I justify. Oh, I was reading the scriptures on this.
I was studying.
You know, one of the other beautiful things or benefits of being in a team or being in sports is that you get to interact with other cultures, with other people that do not look like us, do not talk like us, and do not even, act like us. So that is the beauty of sports, it's integration, of peoples, of cultures and languages. And it erases. And they have to work together.
To meet the mission or accomplish the task.
So I love Heidi's, that she's not there just like I said before, just to teach a sport or to have fun or have the kids fun. She's going far and beyond to teach them other values, and tell them, hey, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be okay. And teach them to be resilient.
That's what I'm trying. I don't know if it's sinking in, but.
Oh, you should have seen the groups, Pastor. She has larger groups.
Even if she don't even give a motivational speech, and if she don't even encourage them after a loss, even if she don't even do any hugging or wipe any tears away, you have done more than enough. You have caused them to release those endorphins and create things in their body that won't allow them to be in a place. You allow them to have great sleep. You know what I mean? We've understand. You understand they stress level. You help them manage that stress level. You help them build social things. Even if they get on the if you just allow the team, you just gram the team together and they start talking amongst each other, you have allowed those things to happen. So as a coach, everything you do matters.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so the fact that, like Ms. Miriam said, you're going above and beyond. You did go above and beyond by sitting there thinking, how can I encourage them? Yes. And I think that's what makes those two are good coaches, great coaches, right? Yeah. But here's my question for you. Great leader. You're a bit competitive. You came from a high school coaching, track and field, all that good stuff, right? And here you are, your baby now is 9 years old, and she's at the competitive level, and you are the coach, right? And you said you are a bit competitive yourself. Here's my question for you. As a coach, how do you handle your own adversity while still leading? In other words, I coached as well, and I didn't like how they was treating our team, or because we have a bigger team, they would treat, they wouldn't give us our calls or something, or we'll notice that the ref seems to favor one side more than the other, and the kids are responding to you going, Coach, they pushing, Coach, they doing this, right? And you are absolutely seeing this. How do you handle that as a coach, even when you're so competitive yourself?
I'm continually learning. Like each before contests, I often will pray, okay, help me to know how to motivate and how to also control, because it gets emotional. And I find, like I attended a coaches meeting last week, and I find, and one of the things is your demeanor translates to your parents on the sideline as well as the kids. So if I'm a little too intense, then you can tell my parents start to get intense, and the girls can see it. And so I've tried to get
What you
better.
did, I needed you when I was coaching because I stayed intense. You know,
Oh, I'm still
I
pretty
lived
intense.
on intenseness.
These are things I'm trying to do. I'm not perfect, and you know,
you
there
need
are
to model
games.
the behavior. So you need to model. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
being a good model of it.
Isn't that
And
what we need to do at home?
Well,
Everywhere in our life, model the behavior that you want to
I
see.
hear a much bigger leader.
Oh, she is beautiful.
Not just the
She's
coach
incredible.
of this team.
I know.
No, she's managing the sideline. She's in control. You're the one that set the tone for even the parents.
Right.
That's got to be a lot of responsibility,
Yes.
and knowing that when you step on the field, yep, you're the one that's going to decide whether you light this fire, right, or how much acceleration we put on the gas or what have you.
Well, and I
How do you
think-
manage that?
Well, and another thing you brought up refs, and that's one thing I have great. Like I'm not doing this alone. That's what's awesome is with each of my girls' team, because I'm coaching 3 teams. I have great assistant coaches, and one of on my girls' comp team, my assistant coach's favorite thing she always tells the girls is, there's only 2 things that you can control, and that's your attitude and your effort. You know, we can't control what the ref's going to call, and there are games where I want to pull my hair out with some certain calls, and you know, we kind of tell our girls, you know, let us talk to the refs to explain things and do things, and it's learning. I'm totally, like, this is my 2nd year coaching her comp team, so I feel like having a year under my belt has helped a little bit to learn, you know, that it is still a game, and if I can
put a
keep my
perspective.
calm, then the parents are more likely, the girls are more likely to play well. And if I can control my attitude and effort, then the girls can see
And
that
the anger
too.
and frustration at times, right?
Yes,
And
and it's hard. It's not easy. I am.
So what about
I
the
have to,
parent
like,
who says, "Put my kid in"?
you know what?
Or
This is something I've tried to develop. Is I feel like I have really great parents. You know, and
Yeah.
I
You
guess
taught
I'm
them
not.
well.
I'm also not the type that is going to pick up a girl and just not play them. Like, yes, I don't. In competitive sports, they don't always play equally, but I definitely, you know, I will choose to keep a smaller group of girls so that they all get more playing time than just to add more girls. So I have great parents. Like, I mean, we've, you know, I've had to. We have meetings with the parents, and we just kind of tell them, hey, it is a game, and you know,
It should
we
be
gotta
fun.
we gotta be sure that we're controlled on the sidelines, and it's a big deal in the state of Utah in youth soccer. At least they've created what's called a zero tolerance policy that has helped all parents, and that is
What does that mean?
That
Yeah, what is
means
that?
if a parent is gonna be, I don't know, offensive to a ref, or they could be,
Okay.
if they get ejected from the game, it means not only they're out, but our whole team's sideline will no longer have parents at the games. And so having that over their head,
You have to discipline the parents sometimes. You have to
having that
discipline
over
the
the
adults
parents'
sometimes,
head,
Pastor.
like they kind of recognize, okay, I don't want my girls' teammates, parents, and fans not to be able to go to game because I can't keep
Because I
my
cannot.
emotions in control.
Right.
So they're really trying to help, and this goes off on a tangent, but they have issues with keeping referees nowadays because people are way too competitive.
I'm here.
But
hear you.
that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
for another podcast. But the biggest thing is to just, like, that's why a lot of times I involve the Lord in coaching soccer. It's because I
Absolutely.
feel like, you know, if I'm in this position to help lead girls, I need his help to know
You need
how
a self-restraint.
to keep my cool,
Right.
to remember it's a game, and to just help
Be a blessing.
with
right.
life lessons.
Okay.
I'm not perfect by all means. You get a yellow card. I've gotten a yellow card for not always staying calm, but
Okay.
I do, at the end of the day, I hope that the girls and the kids because I also coach boys in track and other things. I hope that the kids that I am involved with know that they are children of God, that even if they come from rougher backgrounds, even if this is being at practice is the only positive they have throughout their week, I want to make sure that they know that I love them, that they, God loves them, and that they can overcome challenges just like they overcome a goal getting scored or overcome a loss.
That's good.
Okay, Heidi, so let me ask you as we're closing down, what drives you? What is inside for you to do all of those things? What's the motivation? What do you get from all of this?
I think Heavenly Father, God gives me the gratification. Like I feel that spiritual high, like I'm making a difference. And
Okay.
I'm the type of person that COVID was really hard. COVID was hard for everybody.
Yes.
But I'm the type of person that has to be busy. And sometimes it's crazy that when I look at my phone and I have something every night of the week, but it makes me feel like I've accomplished a lot more if I've, in that time, been able to help others and serve others. Because I think when I have downtime, I'm getting my screen minutes and
Being
not,
counted? Yeah, they give you a report.
not doing enough
Right.
to help others.
So you want to be a blessing. So you want to love the kids. You
Yep.
want to
Well, I
feel
feel like
them
God has
loved.
blessed me in so
Right.
many ways, and if I can do, the least I could do to kind of pay it forward would be
Right.
to help others, and sports is what I love, and so if I can give back in that regard, that's kind of what I am trying to do.
Yay, Heidi.